money knows no gender. So whether you're a girl or boy, the money doesn't know what you have saved, what assets you have built. Ensure women are empowered. A journey of 100 miles begins with the first step. So if you have decided that you want to start your investment journey, you take the plunge, you do your due diligence. So women are brought up to feel that finance is a male prerogative.
Yeah.
Generally, at home also, it is the male head of the family who generally makes the financial decisions. In fact, in some families, women are kept away from finances. According to me, a best is the best husband for a woman. I mean, before she gets married, she
Okay.
should be married to financial literacy. Death of a spouse or divorce
Yeah.
will be a major setback for a woman. So at least if she is aware of how she has to tide through these tough times by being financially literate, she will be able to take care of herself and her family. A girl child should be aware of money. She should read about savings, investments. She should be aware of the family assets, the income, the spending, the budget.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Talk with Nesh. I'm Neha Sharma, and today's guest is really special. She's an incredibly inspiring woman, Mrs. Smita Devekar, who was a former educator and then made a career transition into the world of stock market investing at the age of 40 years old. Hi ma'am, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. Hi, namaste, and good morning, guys.
Welcome ma'am. Ma'am, could you please give a brief introduction about yourself to everybody?
I'm Mrs. Smita Devekar, uh, an educator, a grandmother or to three grandsons, army veteran's wife. Thank you for inviting me to this show and allowing me the opportunity to share my journey.
Thank you, ma'am. So today's podcast is going to be structured around the career transition that you made. And we'd like to know how your journey was. And I hope this is inspiring for all the women who want to take that first step towards their financial independence. So let's, start from the start. So can you go back to your early days and talk to us about your teacher career? How did that start?
So I married an army officer when I was in my early 20s. And at that point of time, the salary I thought was not sufficient for us. So I decided to do my B.Ed and become an educator. So when I was a mother of two kids, I did my B.Ed. And then I worked in various schools across the country, some from defense, some totally civilian.
Let's talk a little bit more about this transition that you have made. So, your second career started at the age of 40. So, not a lot of us would, have it in us to kind of go in for the second innings. What sparked that decision? Why did you start a career?
So at the turn of the millennium, we were posted in Mumbai.
Yeah.
And we stayed in South Mumbai, very close to the Mumbai Stock Exchange. At that point of time, there were these business channels that used to be broadcast by television. And 24/7 channels like ET Now and Z Business and CNBC, they used to talk about money and market investments and business and how to grow your money.
Yeah.
And I was hooked onto this. Here I was in my 40s, staying in South Mumbai, the financial capital of the country. And I was getting all those money vibes. So I decided to take the plunge. And that was a turning point.
So when you decided that, okay, I have to move forward with this, did you have a mentor? How did you go about this? Was this all self-taught?
Once I decided to take the plunge, I met a broker in the BSE Stock Exchange building, and he was the one who first helped me along my journey.
Okay.
So he advised me initially on what stocks to buy and when to sell.
Okay.
And I also was holding a lot of HDFC shares, which were bought at IPO level about in the 1980s.
Wow.
And this had grown substantially. So I sold a part of these and I started investing in the IPOs that came out at that time. And this was the basis of my portfolio.
Do you still have those HDFC shares that you bought in 1980?
I still own
You plan to hold on to it.
Yes, for my grandchildren, probably.
So, when you started with this new journey, did you have like any moments of doubt and fear? Because a lot of times we have these own insecurities, inhibitions, doubts, and fear, which kind of stop ourselves from taking that first step. So, I'm sure you would have faced similar challenges. How did you push through that?
Sometimes decision I took did not give me the returns that I expected. I never gave up. I continued with I looked at only the good part of it. I never lost faith in the market. I was positive that whatever comes down has to go up again. So I moved on and invested in better shares. Then I also, from that point of time, I also changed my strategy. I started doing due diligence. I had a few checks in order. I started looking at stop losses. And I continued this journey onward.
So let's talk a little bit more about investing career. So when we talk about women and investing, there are a lot of misconceptions and myths out there. What do you think are some of the myths, and what are your thoughts around that?
So women are brought up to feel that finance is a male prerogative.
Yeah.
Generally, at home also, it is the male head of the family who generally makes the financial decisions. In fact, in some families, women are kept away from finances. They are not they are always discouraged to talk about money. Besides this, I hear a lot of women themselves say that I have no head for numbers. I don't understand the market. Many of them are fearful of making the wrong decision, so they never take the first step. And that's a myth. Money doesn't recognize gender. And look at me, I do not have any financial background. I'm a purely science student and an educator.
Yeah.
But I still took the first step. I must say, took the first bold step and started my investing journey.
Money doesn't recognize gender is, I think, a very, very apt statement. So I infer from your comments that being good with numbers or having a finance background is not a mandatory or a critical requirement to do well in stock market investing.
True.
So on a day-to-day basis, what is your process to kind of identify the stocks? How do you go about picking your stocks every day?
So Neha, you have to understand that it is important to spend time in the market and not time the market. So this is what I follow, spend time in the market. So what I mean by time in the market, you have to do your due diligence, pick out the shares that you want to invest it, and then take the plunge. So I will give you a small glimpse of my daily market, daily investing. So in the morning from 9 to 11 o'clock, maybe I track the market, I look for news, and I make a list of the shares I want to buy for that day and a list of the shares I want to sell. I also note down the price at which I want to buy a particular share and the quantity that I want to. And I follow this list. So some days I may able to just buy shares and not sell anything from my list. Some days I may just sell something which has achieved its target. And maybe after a few days, if the market goes up and the shares I have sold has corrected substantially, I re-enter that stock. Similarly, if a stock I have bought, instead of going up, has come down, but I have conviction in that stock, I average it out, I buy more stocks. So this is how I do my investment.
So I want to know, about money saving when we talk about it. So a lot of us, including me, sometimes we just keep the money as it is in the bank. It's sitting idle, and the first thing that comes to my mind is, okay, chalo FD banate hain, make an FD. But other than this, making an FD or keeping the money as it is, I want to know what are some of the other things, or what are your thoughts around this actually?
So FDs, I generally wouldn't advise FDs because FDs give just about 7 to 8%. Then on top of that, you have to pay a TDS. And an FD also has a lock-in period. So if you break your FD before it completes its tenure, then you have lost out on the interest. So, and if you need funds immediately, that means you have to break the FD. So, or you wait till the FD matures. So,
Right.
liquidity is a little challenging for this. So, instead of that, if you have stocks,
Yeah.
so a stock is something that sometimes within a day, a week, or maybe even a month, a good stock will fetch you 10% returns, or maybe definitely more than an FD. And whenever you want to generate money, you just sell your stocks, whatever has given you good returns. You sell it, and your money is there immediately within 24 hours. So that is where I find key stock investing is a preferred choice than FD investing. And if you're wary of the stock market and you don't want to take the risk, then there are mutual funds. You can always enter the stock market through the mutual fund.
Okay. So, what are mutual funds? Could you talk a little bit about that?
So, mutual funds are basically where people's money is pooled in, and there is a team manager who takes care of the funds. He has a team of financial experts who help him invest this money across stocks, debt market, and other avenues. And he is a better judge because he's doing his due diligence.
Yeah.
So if you can't enter the stock market yourself, but you wish to start your journey, you can always get in through the mutual fund.
Okay. Are there any like websites or any resources that one can refer to when you want to make that comparison, like which mutual fund to buy? Do you have any suggestions or?
Yes, yes. So this Economic Times publishes a weekly every Monday called the ET Wealth.
Okay.
Now that weekly has dedicated a space for giving to the mutual fund industry. So most popular funds, the thematic funds, the large caps, the mid caps, all these are listed, and every category is best performing funds, the first 2 or 3 best performing funds, and the worst performing funds list is published. So you can go through that then and pick up your mutual fund. Alternately, there are Money Control as a segment which also is dedicated to the mutual fund industry, the comparison, the returns that it gives. And also, Dhirendra Kumar has a website which is called Value Research. You can check on these websites also which funds are doing well and make your choice.
Okay. So I will link all these resources, in the description box. It'll really help our viewers who want to start their investing journey. And speaking of starting the investing journey, do you have any advice that you want to give to everybody who wants to, start their career as a stock market investor?
A journey of 100 miles begins with the first step. So, if you have decided that you want to start your investment journey, you take the plunge, you do your due diligence, you study the stock market, and you move forward.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about the volatility in the market, because of everything that's happening in the US, we see the impact and the ripple effects of it throughout the global markets. And because of this, a lot of people would have lost money, and or people who want to enter might be skeptical about, starting their stock investing journey. So what are your thoughts around this? How was, how did your stocks do actually in the last few months?
I have been in the market since the turn of the millennium. So I've seen 3 market crashes minimum.
Okay.
But I never gave up. See, whatever goes up comes down and it goes up again. You only have to work harder when it is down so that you are able to make a comeback when the market is improving. You have your list of stocks as mentioned before, and you start investing again at the correct point. Besides, market crashes are like a sale in the market. You know, the sale you have all
Yeah.
these sales.
Yeah.
So a market crash is essentially a sale in the market. You get stocks which you had only dreamed of at the price you want. So you just go and do your cherry picking then.
So you like keep tracking the market and you continue your journey. Don't run at the first sign of trouble, right?
Yes. So you just wait. In fact, you wait that there is some bad news and your stock falls and you pick it up at that time. And you don't give up, or at least personally, I will not give up on the market because it has given me so much. I will be here always.
Right. So who inspires you like in this journey? I'm sure you would have had like few I don't know, mentors or figures that you really look up to. So who has been that source of inspiration throughout?
The Indian source of inspiration was the late Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. I followed him initially when I started investing in the market. I followed his talks. And the American is Mr. Warren Buffett. In fact, Mr. Buffett says that, I'll quote him, that when there is greed in the market, you should be fearful. And when there is fear in the market, you should be greedy. So this time is exactly like that, that people are afraid. And this is the time you should be greedy and pick the stocks you want.
So let's move on to talking a little bit about women and financial literacy or financial independence. I personally believe that it's very important for every woman to have that financial literacy that you were also, talking about earlier, and be independent financially. I want to know your thoughts about this. What do you think?
Financial literacy, according to me, is the best husband for a woman. I mean, before she gets married, she should be married to financial literacy. Death of a spouse or divorce will be a major setback for a woman. So at least if she is aware of how she has to tide through these tough times by being financially literate, she will be able to take care of herself and her family. And there are other things besides, like a woman may have ill health or a loss of job or even rearing children.
Yeah.
And so many things that a woman has to go through in a career, breaks that she has to take during her career. So if she's financially literate, at least she can make her money work for her while she's not getting a salary. And I would also advise women that as part of the family, you should be aware of the assets that are there, the family assets. You should continuously upgrade them so that any calamities come, at least you know you have a nest egg to fall back on. Assets as in what the family owns, what is the bank balance. These days, passwords are very important. So where are the documents are. So she should be at least aware of these things. These are part of financial literacy. And of course, I would advise every woman and her partner to make a term insurance and also, of course, to make a will. So in times of calamities, at least these are their things to fall back on.
And if you had to teach, maybe a few things to a young school girl out there, what would those few things be? And about money specifically.
Yes. So a girl child should be aware of money. She should read about savings, investments. She should be aware of the family assets, the income, the spending, the budgeting. It's good if we could train the children in these aspects. The other thing I would like to say is, if when you start earning your income, be sure to first save a part of your income for investments and then spend the rest instead of spending the rest as we generally do and then saving. So if these habits are inculcated right from before, it becomes a habit, and you learn to invest and make your money work for you. What is investment? At the end of the day, investment is making money work for you. And money knows no gender. So whether you're a girl or boy, the money doesn't know. What you have saved, what assets you have built, ensure women are empowered, ensure finance is empowered, and build up your assets, and it will take care of your future. And money, there will be money always with you if you take care of it and make lasting assets.
Money knows no gender. Incredibly inspiring punchlines and statements that you've made there. And I've personally learned a lot. You've spoken from your heart, and you've shared, your experience, especially the career transition that you made at a later age. It's really inspiring. And I hope that everybody, who's watching us till the end finds value in this conversation. To all the women who are watching, I hope this gives you some inspiration to either go for your second innings, or make that career transition that you're looking for, or even take that first step towards financial independence. Thank you so much. Please like, share, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you so much. I always believe that we don't really need to look far, because there are so many incredibly inspiring stories all around us. Because as I say, don't forget that no one else sees the world the way you do. So no one else has stories to share that you have. Thank you.